Alright, so today we have an Omega Seamaster De Ville. This is from the 1960s, believed to be 1962 for this particular model. I need to do a little bit more research, but that's what initial research has said. So this is a solid case, and it's a front removal movement. So the case back there is one solid piece, and in order to get the movement out, I have to take the crystal off, take the crown off, and then the movement will pop out. This is a very unique way of taking watches apart, and it's going to be a little interesting to see it. But watching it happen in real time, I slowed the video down so we can see it. So here we are. I'm going to move my camera into position so you can see the crystal extractor I have, and the worry and fear will be evident when it doesn't work the first time. So this device grabs the crystal on, I think, 18 different points of contact, and you just tighten it, and it compresses the crystal just enough that it should scare the crap out of you when it doesn't work. So I make sure that the crystal isn't broken and try it again. So this time I'll tighten it a little bit tighter and give it a 1 extra twist, 2 extra twists. That should be good. And now I just have to use an insane amount of pressure to try to pop it off. And it does come off with some force after some convincing. So again, I just want to make sure it's as tight as possible. You can over tight and break it. And I find that sometimes testing all 4 sides of the watch helps. But yeah, boom, there it is, finally. Crystal's off. So as you can see, the crystal is not damaged, didn't break, it's not scratched. It's dirty, but that's about it. So yeah, now that the crystal's off, I will remove the hands, and there is a small slider you can see on the right side above the crown stem that needs to be shifted to allow the locking mechanism that maintains the movement to be released. So let's move the camera back into position so we can see what's happening. Try to get the focus in there for you. It's a weird mount. So it's actually my cell phone, believe it or not. That's how I record these videos. Eats up a lot of my storage. There we go. So I'm gonna remove the hands and then pop out the crown. I leave the stem in place because there's just no reason to remove that. The crown and the stem are split. So the crown connects to the stem via a little splice is the best way to put it. But it pops on and off the stem. So once the hands are safely tucked away, you will see me rotate the slider that I point out right here. So that needs to be shifted up to release and shifted down to lock. And here you see I try to pull the crown out with just my fingers. That's not going anywhere. So I will use my hand puller to pop it off. Just a little bit of pressure. Doesn't take a whole lot, but enough, because you don't want it coming off when you're just wearing it. So it does require a little bit of pressure. So no, it's not broken. That's how it's supposed to come off. And you can see there the connection piece there. So let's rotate the locking mechanism. I'll just grab a large flathead watch tool and shift it up. And the watch movement will pop out. There we go. An Omega 552. This is an automatic movement, so it winds, and it's already running. Haha! Okay, that's good news. But that will move and wind the watch just by the movement of my hand. So as I move my hand, that rotor will spin around and incrementally wind the mainspring, giving me power. It's still a good thing to manually wind it. I do every morning just to make sure that it's fully up and up, but yeah, I don't need to manually wind it every morning. Let's speed things up and get the disassembly going. Before we get too far into it, I wanted to share a little bit of information. So This is the De Ville, Seamaster De Ville, which is mostly in the 60s. In 1967, Omega spun the De Ville off as its own series, so it was Omega De Ville instead of Omega Seamaster De Ville. The 552 is an automatic self-winding. It's got 24 jewels, and it's Omega's most successful and long-lived movement. It's most commonly known as the bulletproof one. It's robust, reliable, serviceable, and fairly good parts and availability for a vintage movement. So I was able to find the parts needed for this one. But yeah, let's enjoy the disassembly. Now, I do try to bring down the mainspring multiple times. Unfortunately, and you'll see that I wasn't able to get it released all the way. The split stem is very frustrating to get it on there and try to power it down. I'll actually show what happens when you have mainspring power. It could have damaged a watch. Luckily, it didn't. I was able to control it well enough. So, yeah, here we go. Alright, so here's what happens when the mainspring has power. It sends the pallet fork flying, like that, because all the wheels want to spin at the exact same time, the training wheels. So power comes from the mainspring to the center wheel to the train of wheels, and the escape wheel is what turns everything incrementally. The pallet fork is what controls that incremental movement from the escape wheel. By the balance bouncing back and forth, the impulse jewel on the balance hitting the pallet fork moves the pallet fork incrementally. That's how you get your timing. That's how the training wheels works, and it's how everything moves inside the watch. So each wheel on the training wheel controls minutes, seconds, hours, so on and so forth. So all those wheels trying to spin at an incredible speed is being held together by a little bit of shellac and some gems on the pallet fork. It's great ingenuity, and this is a well thought out process for watches. It's been done for 100 years at least. The 1850 pocket watch had the same principles, done slightly different because it didn't have a pallet fork, but the idea was there. So I was lucky that nothing broke. Normally when that happens, there's so much pressure that the pallet fork, one of the jewels on it will snap off, the shellac will fail. But again, I was very fortunate. So there you go. That's what happens. So this is the automatic winding movement. It's that rotor will spin around on a post, which is what I'm taking off right now. So that little retaining notch there controls the rotor, which spins freely, which moves that post, which moves these gears. Now, I've not taken one of these apart, so I'm trying to make sure that I pay attention. The rotor spins one direction. I'd like you to notice that it's on the bottom, or I guess against the plate. Let me get the focus working on here. But yeah, I don't remember how I reassemble it, and I actually mess it up and put it together in a wrong configuration, and it frustrates me, and I'm not gonna show all that. I'm gonna fast forward past it pretty quickly, but it takes me a while to figure out how to put this back together, but I do eventually get it after I clean it and lubricate it and everything else. So yeah, this is a learning process, and I was definitely learning. But how this works is that rotor spins around, moves that main gear, which moves two smaller gears, and it incrementally winds the mainspring, and that's how you get your automatic winding or automatic watch status. Now we're going to take the main plate here and put the balance and reattach it so that when I clean the other parts and pieces, the balance will also get cleaned. It's the safest way to do it. It makes sure that the pivots on the bottom of the balance wheel don't get damaged, and also cleans the hairspring. And yeah, so that's how I do it, is reinstall it back on the plate and then put it through the cleaner. So everything gets cleaned in this device here, spins it around in solution, and here are all the parts and pieces laid out. You can see some of the ammonia-based cleaner is still on the main plate, so I'm trying to kind of push it off, the hairspring and everything. It'll evaporate, but it doesn't hurt to get it out there a little bit more forcefully with this little pressurized blower that I have. It's a little hand blower. I don't know what it's called, but here are all the parts and pieces. So the original plate, the original dial, I just cleaned with soap and water. It's got wear and tear on it. I'm never going to get rid of that, but it shows some character. Everything else came out clean. Really, really, really brought out the copper tone of the Omega, which is kind of their trademark. So you can see that everything is accounted for. The only thing I don't put on here is obviously the screws. But yeah, those are all the parts and the pieces for an Omega 1960s Seamaster De Ville. Let's take the balance and the hairspring off and start reassembly. So this is where the reassembly of the automatic works comes in, and I nuke it. I completely mess it up, but I do eventually figure it out. So what I should have done is put that in, and that main gear is supposed to go under the double ratchet. And for some reason, I put it on top of the double ratchet. I do end up actually bending the gear a little bit due to the pressure that I try to, force it to go in there. So you'll see me straighten that out. I was lucky. Most of the time, when you bend a gear this small, it actually ruins the gear, and I will eventually replace that gear with the correct one. For the time being, it works fine, but I want this to be a fully functional, original parts and pieces watch. So that was a learning lesson for me. So it's a placeholder for the time being. These two smaller gears, I eventually figure out that one needs to be upside down and one needs to be right side up. So again, this is a learning process. I've never assembled one of these before, so trying to reverse engineer how everything fits together and works took some time. And I'm going to fast forward through most of it, triple and double triple and double stamp with triple stamp the speed so that we can get through it together. I ended up walking away and coming back, and I didn't record it all, but I got it assembled. So I did manage to get it off camera. But here I'm trying to feel where the bend is and correct it. So I'm rotating it, and I feel resistance, and you can almost see the bend right there. So I will use the main plate as kind of my guide for how much pressure and how much bend to give it. So yeah, it works, but it's a little tight. So I will resolve that. Again, it's going to get replaced, but it works for now. So I've discovered that there's something on the end of these tweezers that's making everything stick, and then I'm looking closer at it, and yeah, these tweezers have pretty much seen end of life. So I'm gonna retire them and break out some new hotness. So as you can see, these are much better shape, finer point, not as worn away. You know, tools they wear out, and eventually you got to replace them. So I'm not to the phase where I'm gonna service my own tweezers, sand them down and reshape them, all that stuff. I'd rather just spend a little bit of money and buy a brand new set that does much better than anything I could do. So that's what I've done. now we break out the microscope, and this is the pallet fork, and you see those feet there. Those are that's the escape wheel. So you'll see the pallet fork will pivot on that one edge there, and I am applying lubrication to the pallet fork, which will transfer to the escape wheel. So I'm going to manipulate the magnifying glass, or the microscope here a little bit so you can see all that. But that little trident down there is what the impulse tool from the balance will hit and bounce the pallet fork back and forth, allowing the escape wheel to progress incrementally tine by tine. So doing this puts the lubrication on each foot, and it allows better, less resistance. I accidentally put a little bit too much on, so I will clean it up with some raw to go, but I'm still going to transfer it to the escape wheel as much as I can. So this is what I do off camera normally, but this time I wanted to show how it actually worked and how a watch keeps time from impulse tool, balance wheel, pallet fork, escape wheel, so on and so forth. Trying to get the impulse jewel into the pallet fork is sometimes exercise in fruition, and here it is. She comes to life. So now it's all fit together. The balance wheel is kicking over the pallet fork, which is kicking over the escape wheel, making the train of wheels run. This watch has come to life. So here we have it, a fully operational watch. So we're going to get the dial side going, and then I remember that I need to install the automatic work because I've never done one before. So I forgot to put on the automatic winding. So I start the dial and then realize I'm not done. So I go back and I will install the automatic. Now these hands are the original hands that came with the watch. I believe they don't really fit. So what I think happened is when I purchased this watch, it just included a pair of watch hands. The watch did not actually run until I took the hands off, which tells me that they didn't actually fit and they were hitting each other and stopping everything from working. As you can see here, the second hand is running and then immediately hits the 6 indices and stops. So it takes some manipulation of the hands to actually fit in accordance with the indices and each other so they don't bump into each other. I actually swapped these hands out for a different set of Omega hands that I had on hand for a 565 movement. They had the same fitment, so it worked out. But yeah, trying to get the hands to fit was educational, to say the least. I had to make sure that I didn't ruin the hands by bending them too much, but just enough that they would fit and work in synchronized together. They had to be working together. But the indices are so raised that they kept bumping into the second and a minute hand. So it takes some finagling. Success! So the movement is in, the retaining ring is on, the crystal is in place, the hands don't hit each other, everything is running. So let's go ahead and install the crystal. So another tool comes out. This is the crystal press. So it's just a special tool that is concaved and will compress the crystal and slip it right in. There you go. Easy as that. just make sure you got the right sizing. And let's test it, make sure. Yeah, it runs. Full gambit. Here's a time graph in action. It's minus 3 seconds per day with zero point 0.2 milliseconds of beat error. So it's actually very accurate. So let's go ahead and get the band on. This has been a hell of an adventure. Highs and lows. Telling you, all over the place. I absolutely loved assembling this Omega, and I can't wait to do another one. I have a couple on my bench, but let's take a look at it in all its glory. So this is a 1960s Omega Seamaster De Ville. All original parts, minus the band, of course. But yeah, I will replace the crown, and I will replace the automatic wheel down the road. But I just want to thank you guys for being a part of this journey with me. And if you like what you saw, like and subscribe, please. I look forward to seeing you again.